The manifestation of Zen or Chan, meaning that whatever the circumstances, how they may change in your mind, your heart, doesn't disturb you in any sense.
所以我们刚出家的时候都是在做服务生，就像跟你们餐厅的服务生，要会端菜，要会笑，要会洗盘子，然后换不一样的工作。中国佛教虽然经典都有了，但是它要按照经典来训练你的心。
So if you are a new monk, you have to learn to be a waitress. You have to be very smiling. You have to know when to put out the meals, and you have to do all kinds of chores, etc. In Mahayana texts and sutras, there are lots of Dharma teachings in it, but most importantly, you have to learn it from the basic and through the practice of these chores.
所以简单的说，你必须接受变化，但是还要保持悲心，保持爱心。
So in simpler term, we have to train ourselves to be able to accept changes, and at the same time maintaining a mindset of peace and compassion.
就像佛教很喜欢用莲花代表，一点都不执着，接受一切，但是它永远最漂亮、最香。
So in Buddhism, we always use the lotus flower as an analogy that it doesn't get disturbed in any sense, but it is always showing the best of itself, the nature of mind.
甚至讲一个各位不会相信的，像我们出家都会被打，我被打了2年，因为你不被打，那你就会骄傲。如果西方人你打他就跑掉了。
I'm telling you something that you might not believe, but many new monks back home, we were strapped, and then until that we are tamed, and this is a form to practice to eliminate egocentrism. But if you do that in a Western society, everyone will just run away.
因为就像我们在打坐，那师父就会拿一个板子，然后打你这边很大声，啪啊，睡觉也打，打瞌睡也打，他问你问题，讲对也打，讲错也打，他就要让你消除这个骄傲跟这个身体的执着。
So when we were doing meditations, our teacher will hold a long wooden plank, and then he will hit you on the shoulder. So if you were dozing off, he will hit you. And if he asks you a question and you have the right answer, he will hit you. If you got the wrong answer, he will hit you. This is all just to let you to be comfortable to put down yourself and the attachment for your own body.
意思是说，在我们汉传佛教的禅师，一句佛法，他要你用1年把这个佛法用到你生命里面，而不是说你去读第2句、读第3句。如果前面1句你不懂，你就不能读第2个，你要深深的印在心里面。
So in Mahayana tradition, the idea of Zen is, say, a sentence of sutras or a sentence of Dharma text. You will have to learn it by using, actually applying it into your life for a year. And then without that, you cannot progress to the next sentence.
所以跟藏传不一样，藏传是佛学院毕业了可以闭关，那我们汉传，你至少要出家，甚至以前是规定20年，师父都同意了，你才可以去一个人闭关，才可以修行，不然你不知道方法是什么。
So in Vajrayana, once you finish, say, in the monastic college or training, then you enter a retreat. But in Mahayana, you may have to train for over 20 years. And when your teacher approves that you have learned what you need to learn and know how to apply those in life, then you are allowed to do a solitude retreat.
而且他训练你，让你去公司上班，你都会成为总经理，因为你能力必须很强，会扫厕所，会做总经理都要会。
So the teachers will really try to train you, that even to put you into a company that you're able to become a CEO. You'll be able to do, say, sweeping the floor, cleaning the bathroom, and all kinds of tasks, even to the level of managing and a CEO to overseeing many different assignments and tasks.
为什么？因为师父都会说，大乘佛教就是要服务众生，所以你必须要增加服务众生的能力。
And why is that? Because the spirit of Mahayana is to build the ability to serve all sentient beings. And to be able to do so, you have to acquire as many skills and abilities as possible.
所以简单的说，学佛就要让自己成为一个圆满的、有服务能力、有圆满的心、有圆满的爱、有圆满的力量的人。所以你要不断的训练你自己。
So practicing Dharma is to train ourselves to become a wholesome person in the sense that we are really enthusiastic in serving others. And by serving others, we are fulfilling ourselves too.
所以就像各位在看上师、看佛像，那我们必须用完全的身口意去学习他的能力去服务别人。
So when we are looking at the pictures of our gurus, of our teachers, we have to learn from them and completely to see them as a role model for the body, speech, and mind, and then apply that into our practice too.
所以，那让佛上师最欢喜的，就是你去服务众生，你真的去帮助到其他的生命，这就是供养佛的方法。
And to make Buddhas happy, or the best offerings to the Buddhas would be serving other sentient beings, to make other sentient beings happy.
所以我们刚出家就会学煮饭啊、洗衣服啊，甚至什么世间的事都要学着做。我们叫半工半读，一半读经典，一半服务众生，学习服务。
So being new monks, we will have to learn how to do laundries, and we know how to cook for people, and then just all sorts of chores that we need to learn the skills. So we often said that we are half studying and half working.
就像我们汉传这边就有线，这代表53条线，他就说你必须至少找53个师父和53个老师来学习服务众生的方法。
So in Mahayana's monastic robe, there are 53 strings on it, and each represent that you should learn from a different teacher. And different methods of serving sentient beings and helping them. So we have to seek out for 53 teachers to learn different skills and practices.
并不是说他不是佛教徒这个人公司做很大，这个医院的院长很好这个乞丐他很会煮饭，那你必须从他身上学他的能力。
And these teachers are not necessarily Buddhist teachers. They could be the CEO, or they could be a poor man. They could be a cook. Just anything that you can learn from them to obtain the skill that you can help more sentient beings, and they are your teacher.
所以我们中国人说，祖师菩萨都是从厨房出来的，他特别喜欢这样讲。
So in Chinese saying, there is one says that many great masters, they all came out from kitchen.
所以简单的说，那汉传佛教它比较重视你必须在生活上，特别对在家人，在生活上去学习。
And in the Mahayana tradition, there is a great emphasis for lay people that how to practice Dharma and apply it into daily life.
甚至现在有一个新的讲法，你要来出家，然后我们就会叫你去开一家素食餐厅，开1-2年你赚钱了，代表你有资格出家来学。
So taking the example when someone said that I would like to be become a monk or nun, the first thing we will say that why don't you try to open up a vegetarian restaurant first, and then if it runs successfully for 2 years, then you are ready to come and become a monk or nun.
所以意思是说，他必须从行动上面对事情上去学习。特别各位都是在家人，那你们在做事情，那从这里面也可以修行。
So really, most importantly is to show Dharma practice through your actions and through daily life, and also when you're facing different circumstances, how you use it.
就像有一次，我有一位居士要配眼镜，然后我师父就叫我带他去一个眼镜店，然后他就说：“你帮他选一只看起来最漂亮的。如果你选的不好，代表你没有智慧，你这个眼睛有问题。”
There's one time a lay person wanted to get prescribed glasses, and my teacher asked me to take that lay person to the optical store, and my teacher told me that I have to select the best glasses for that lay person, and if he doesn't like it, then there's a problem on me.
所以学佛就是圆满完美。他就告诉你，你每一件事情 ，everything is perfect， 你必须找到那个点，讲话、穿衣服、做事、打坐，都是的最圆满。
So learning Dharma, practicing Dharma is about finding or achieving that wholesome perfectness. You have to find that point of balance and perfectness that you know what to do at the different circumstances.
但是不是让自己圆满，而是你必须像妈妈带婴儿一样，让他圆满，要很有耐心，让他圆满。
But it's not about being a perfectionist in a sense, but that you are caring about others with a wholesome mind that you want the best for them, just like the mother would want for her children too, like the most perfectionist state for them.
那既然讲大乘，那你必须样样都圆满，你不能说我喜欢做个那个我不会，那你就是不圆满。所以每一件你都故意圆满它。
So in Mahayana, everything or all tasks we need to try to strive for wholesome and perfectionist. You cannot say that, oh, I cannot do that task. I don't want to do it. You shouldn't be like that. You should try to try it and then learn it too.
所以你说你很喜欢念经，很会念，他就不叫你念，他叫你去扫地。他说你扫地扫不好，你也不会念经；你煮饭煮不好，你也不会修行。所以每样你都要做。
So again, like if you really like to read sutras, the teacher will ask you to go sweep the floor, and if you cannot do a good job on sweeping the floor, you cannot do a good job at reading sutras or studying the text.
就像曾经有一个男生要来找我师父出家，那我师父说：“你结婚了吗？”他说：“已经离婚了。”那我师父说：“那你不要来出家，你连跟你太太都处不好，跟我们也会合不来。”
There was one time a gentleman who came to my teacher and said that he would like to become a monk, and my teacher asked him, "Are you married?" And he said, "I'm actually divorced." And my teacher said, "Then you cannot become a monk because you can't even manage your marriage."
所以意思是说，他要你找出你的缺点，然后你愿意改，然后你才能够一步一步进步。
The meaning behind what the teacher has said is that he would like you to recognize your personal problems and faults, and then you have to fix them.
所以我要说的是，打坐、修仪轨，可能如果你很喜欢就很容易，但是要去面对你不喜欢的，还能够像打坐、修仪轨的快乐跟服务，那就对了。
So for a person who really likes to say do meditations and read sutras and do all sorts of rituals, these tasks are really easy for him or her. But it is actually more of a practice if you are carrying out tasks that you don't like, but you're still doing them in a happiness mindset. and that would be a true form of practice.
所以每次我们打坐，师父就叫我们看佛像，佛像就是微笑，很安详打坐。他说，如果你在那边打坐，脸都不笑，很痛苦，他就把你赶出去。他说你没有在打坐。
So when we were doing meditations, our teachers would ask us to look at the Buddha statue and how the statue is smiling. And now we should also put a smile on our face. If we're having a serious face when meditating, the teacher would send us out and say that you're not meditating.
就像你很健康，你也是那个脸。那你现在得癌症，你也要保持那个脸。这个在佛教叫一心念佛，保持一样的心态。
So when you're healthy and living well, you have a smile on your face. But when you're sick or having some difficulties, you should also have a smile on the face. That is a term having 一心念佛. It's like maintaining your heart and mindset, and that you're always remembering the Buddhas.
当然，念佛，我们念佛，佛念众生苦。所以念佛的人，他就必须要保持永恒的慈悲。
So when we are remembering the Buddha, we have to know that the Buddhas are always remembering the sufferings of all sentient beings. So having that in mind, we should always try to train ourselves to have the eternal compassion.
就像有一次我在佛桌擦很干净，摆得很漂亮。那我的师父说，你要用这个方法去对待一个乞丐、一个敌人啊、一个鬼，把它当作佛一样的来供养。
Another example is one time I cleaned the shrine room. The table was very nice and tidy, and my teacher came in and he said, "This is how you should treat." All sentient beings, including the poor people or your enemies, and even the ghost beings. That's how you should treat them with this attitude.
所以各位听到这边就知道，哦，原来修行是一种自我挑战，也是一种挑战自己，还要学习奉献自己的方法。
So, what is Dharma practice? Dharma practice is about challenging yourself. Challenge yourself to always devote more, and then to learn other means and skills to help many.
所以在经典里面说，一个人决心，就像说发菩提心呢，连皇帝都要知道，全国要知道，因为这个人要把自己奉献给国家，奉献给众生呢，大家要知道他。
So in sutras, it has said that when someone is determined and make a vow of generating bodhicitta mind, even the king has to be informed, and the whole the whole country needs to be informed that someone is devoting himself or herself for the wellness of the society, of the environment, and all.
就像我刚刚讲了，那一位男生他离婚了，他要出家。我师父说：“那你回去，虽然离婚了，你要把你过去太太带来，她看到你很快乐，那你已经改变那个关系了，那你再来出家就对了。”意思他跟他过去太太离婚的那个男人，如果他很生气，跟他不讲话，那不能出家。你必须回去，也把他带来寺庙，你跟他相处很好啦。然后他认为他也很快乐，那你再来出家，代表你改变了。
Okay, so let's go back to the story about that gentleman who asked to become a monk, but my teacher dismissed him because he was divorced. And then my teacher also said to him that what you need to do now is go back to your wife and bring her back to the temple and influence her so that she's not mad at you anymore. Then at that point you can become a monk.
就是说，你心中里面不能有一个恨。或是有一个不高兴，因为你要修慈悲心，你必须把这个问题解决。
So there should be no hatred in mind or any negative feelings, but only the heart of compassion, and that way all problems and difficulties can be resolved.
所以我们透过修很多仪轨打坐，就是要改变这个心里面没有负面的心态，只有正面的心态。
So when we are practicing rituals and meditations, we are here to practice to eliminate the negative thoughts and feelings and transform them into positive mindset.
但不是光心态，要把这个心态变成一个 action， 一个真正的行为去帮助他们。
But not only we are shifting our mindset, we have to carry out through actions. We have to make it really practical into daily life.
所以我们中国人喜欢讲修行这两个字 ，practice。这个修就代表你思想没有负面的，只有爱；行就代表你的行为没有自私的、伤害的，只有帮助。这个叫修行。
So the word practice Dharma in Mandarin Chinese is 修行, 2 characters, and the first word 修 meaning to fix or to adjust your thoughts and mindset, and the second word 行 meaning meaning carrying out the actions that is not selfish but altruistic for others.
就是说，就像你在打坐修仪轨的时候。突然有小孩子吵你，那你就骂他，代表你没有修行，因为你明明在修仪轨是慈悲的，结果别人吵你你就生气，代表你这个不正确。
So let's say if you were meditating or doing some certain rituals, and a kid came by and bothered you, but you scolded at that kid, then you were not really practicing compassion, because true compassion is that you wouldn't be mad at the kid.
就像有一个故事，有一个老和尚在树下念佛，念佛很认真。那是因为有一个妈妈小孩子不见了，他很急，一直跑，结果跑到树下没看到老和尚，就踢他一脚，然后就跑过去。老和尚就很生气，你踢我还不跟我对不起，你踢我还不跟我对不起。结果那个太太转回来说：“老和尚，你不是在念佛吗？那你怎么忘了？”
So there's a story of an old monk. Meditating and reading sutras underneath a tree, and a mother lost her child, so she was really frantically looking for her kid, and she didn't see the old monk sitting there, so she accidentally kicked the monk, and the monk got really mad at her and scolded at her, and she replied, "Well, aren't you reading sutras right now?"
就像在以前中国。有一个影星，他们有文革吧，所以那位女生漂亮，她被剪掉头发放在街上，就是大家就逗她，她就很痛苦。结果这个老和尚走过去，就给她一个字条，就叫这个时候才是修行的时间，然后就提醒她，不管你头发被剃掉了，被侮辱了，但是你这个时候要保持修行的心态。
So there's a story of a Chinese movie star. She was really beautiful and all, but during the Cultural Revolution, her hair was cut off and thrown on the street, and people walking past her, they were all making fun of her and all. And an old monk walked by, and then he wrote down a slip of note to her and says that this is the time to practice Dharma.
所以我想，我们听到这边，佛教第一个重点就是出离心，没有烦恼。那你必须要了解外面的好跟坏，它只是一个暂时的现象，假的。
So in Buddhism, the first thing, one of the primary things we should keep in mind is to abandon the worldly attachments, and that meaning we are trying to strive for a state of no confusions and not to be disturbed by these temporarily confusions.
所以你必须要随时提醒自己，就像你做梦的时候，梦到你的儿子突然死掉了，你会哭，这个故事。结果你醒过来，哦，那是做梦哦，没关系，白哭了。事实上，我们现在所有的一切都是在做梦的状态。
So we always need to remind ourselves, taking the example when you're sleeping and then you have a dream of your son passing away and you were crying, but when you wake up and you realize that it was just a dream. So that's the same with our life too, that many of the phenomena are just like dreams, and we have to know that these are just confusions.
那这样你就不会痛苦。学佛不是说改变对方，学佛是 接受它的变化，你心里很了解了，没有意外。
So by realizing that there would be no sufferings because you are not trying to change others, but to recognize that everything changes. And in that sense, you are able to have a more peace of mind to face all kinds of circumstances.
就算医生跟你说，哦，你已经得癌症了，3个月就要死了，那你去学佛了，那就哦，那医生你什么时候会死？你知道吗？他说他不知道。对啊。
So, for example, if a doctor tells you that you have cancer and you only have 3 months left, but you're using these 3 months to practice Dharma diligently, and then maybe you ask the doctor, so doctor, when do you know you will die? The doctor couldn't answer.
所以这个就是学佛的基本，叫空性，就是说你要有出离心，对吧？有不带一直想要抓住什么。
So when we talk about emptiness in Buddhism, it's about abandoning the worldly attachment.
那第二个就是说，当你有这个出离心，你觉得很平静，但是别人不知道，那一只猫、那个狗、那个总统、那个乞丐，所以你必须帮助他知道。
So in the second step, that when you have practiced and realized about emptiness or about having that peace in mind that everything changes and all, but that's only in yourself.